Hey everybody, welcome to Surface Level, a show that takes a look at society's expectations and rejects the ones we don't see it for. All from the perspective of three black, queer best friends. I'm one of your hosts, Damon, and today, Jordan, Tony, and I are discussing our experiences dating in New York City. Are monogamous relationships the best relationships? What's the most surprising thing you've learned from a past relationship? This is Call Tyrone and My Therapist. Call Tyrone and My Therapist. All right. So should be a fun episode. It's going to mix a bit of dating and a bit of our experiences with therapy. And I think let's start off with a bit of music therapy.
Okay, let's do it.
So,
Love music.
If you were to listen to that album by that girl that Blue Ivy manages,
Okay.
what would you say the song from Lemonade is that best describes you? Is it A, Don't Hurt Yourself, B, 6 Inch, or 3, Sorry? Jordan.
Ooh, so it's definitely best describes myself.
Yes.
It's definitely 6 Inch Heels.
So you 6.
You walked in the club like nobody's business?
Okay, works for the money.
She
Okay,
does work for the money.
everything is about the bag. No, 6 Inch Heels just feels like very sexy,
Mm-hmm.
like very independent. You make it work on your own. You don't have to rely on anybody but yourself. So that's why I rock with that song.
Tony.
For me, it's given very much sorry. I ain't sorry. You know, that I love that song and I love the sentiment. You know, tell him boy bye.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm gonna go with because that feels accurate to just my personality.
Yeah.
Damon, what about you?
You don't get to Don't Hurt Yourself.
Yeah,
I remember
absolutely.
sitting
Don't hurt
so
yourself.
y'all don't know, but maybe some of you don't know this. Jordan and I used to live together. When Lemonade came out, we had hosted like a Lemonade viewing party with our
Yeah,
friends.
so we made watermelon cocktails.
Oh, you made little cocktails with water because we was drinking watermelon.
Mm.
And when she walked onto that set with straight back cornrows
Yes.
and a hood by her fur that I had tried on at Barney's, which I thought it was a little questionable that she wore after that, but okay. And the first line of the song was, "Who the fuck do you think I am? You ain't married to no average bitch boy." I said, "Oh, I am she. She is me."
Oh, Lemonade. Remember when we all went to the Philly concert?
Yeah, I was in the Beehive.
I know.
I was waving at you guys like,
I know.
"Hey, girl."
Right. We were
Wait,
on the
who were you?
floor.
You were with Jasmine Sullivan and
Jasmine Sullivan
Yes.
was there.
they don't call it the Beehive, but they call it something else.
It's the Beehive.
Oh, it's called the Beehive?
Yeah, they call that.
We were in,
Yeah.
Jordan and I were on the floor. The confetti cannons were raining down on me. The fire was warming my face.
I blacked out.
We had to go back.
We had to go to the Lemonade or what is it called?
Formation.
World
We went to the last
Tour.
show.
Yes.
And that rotating
Which-
cube.
Beyonce, if you hear this, please release it on Netflix.
We
Or
still-
Blue Ivy, please let her
We
release it.
still waiting for the DVD.
I know you said it's in our heads, but I was blacked out, so I need help.
All right. So next, what's your Waiting to Exhale anthem? A, Exhale, Shoot by Miss Whitney Houston.
Mm.
Not Gonna Cry by Mary J. Blige.
Mm.
We're Sitting Up in My Room, Brandy. Tony.
Ooh, that's difficult. I don't know how to choose because Brandy's one of my favorite artists. But I think this is
Think fast.
all right.
What's in your gut?
What my gut was Shoot by Whitney Houston. That song gives me a moment, and you know when Whitney sung on the track, I remember the video for it where it was giving. You know the video where what's his name? He was naked, and that was the one.
D'Angelo?
D'Angelo. Well,
Ooh.
this was Whitney Houston, and if you go back and look at the video for Shoot, I think this was the video where it was very much of like fake.
It was just face.
It was face.
The category is.
It was Martha in her face, and she sung this song. It was beautiful, and it just I want to play that now tonight.
I know. I want to play that too.
Yeah. What about you, Jordan? What song would you identify?
I'm
with?
not gonna cry.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Listen, Mary J. Blige, before she divorced that man,
So this time before you see the tears fall down your eyes.
Oh yes, that was the part of the song where I was just like, yes, you will never see me cry, but I do be crying all the time
for everything.
In secret.
In secret and in public sometimes, but like mostly in secret. I be bawling, but like not gonna cry. It's just like I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction of seeing me at my weakest, and it's just like, yeah, that hit.
That makes sense for you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you have egg on your face and give. Everything's fine. It's like that meme.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, the house is with the fire.
Everything's burning down. This
is fine. Jordan, are you okay? It's fine. It's fine. Why are you asking me that? It's so strange.
It's a tie for me. I think Shoot is such an exceptional use of what her voice was at that moment that I just love listening to her sing it.
Yeah, me too.
And when I think about Not Gonna Cry, Mary J. Blige in that scarf with the sunglasses and like the blonde French roll with the bang. Oh baby,
ooh.
That's a moment.
Okay. A French roll.
She is. If your mama didn't have a French roll in the '90s,
it was legendary, iconic.
It was so good. I think like. Those two songs are and that is, which is crazy because "Sit Up in My Room" is a great song. Iconic Brady song.
Yeah.
But like those other two, whoo, they are the moment. All right. So if you're setting the mood for a late night visitor,
okay. Well, this is fun. I love ambiance.
Are we playing Ari Lennox's "Whipped Cream" or Trey Songz's "Panty Drop"?
Ooh.
So
I'll go first.
Because you have a lot of late night visitors.
Ooh. Oh. Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, demon hours. We can know.
And I'm all about ambiance. I'm all about like a candle, the music, like what else? Sparkling water, things like that. But it really just depends on the person. I mean, it's like, what do I feel like that person would appreciate?
Right? Is it the trade coming or is it a Butch Queen?
Exactly. Because I'm just like, I'm all about like, me personally, I would prefer to have like an Ari Lennox moment, when I'm having a late night visitor. But like, I understand that some people that I may interact with may want some trigger.
Panty drop.
Exactly. And honestly, like, I'm all about hospitality, so I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever I think that my guests would be more comfortable with.
Very accommodating.
Very extremely accommodating.
So if I'm gonna play what I want to hear, it's going to be Ari Lennox, Whipped Cream, because that to me can also, you come in and it's giving whipped cream, like that's an innuendo, right? I mean, yeah, it's an innuendo or aphrodisiac or whatever. It's one of those things that makes you. I don't like
not
whipped cream
the song, but
I like the actual whipped cream.
I like the song, but don't put that in my mouth.
No.
Moving on. If you come to my house, we're playing Ari Lennox. All right. Period. I don't care who you are. You gonna get this Ari Lennox. Final question.
Okay.
So, old school type of love.
Ooh.
Are you going with "If This World Were Mine" by Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn, or "The Closer I Get to You" by our fellow Howard alums Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway?
What's the occasion? Just in general,
what makes you feel like love? What makes you feel warm on the inside?
The closer I get to you. That's like.
And what was the other song?
"If This World Were Mine" by Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn. So Jordan's getting closer to you.
Yes, absolutely.
If this world were mine. If this world were mine.
Place at your feet.
Oh yes, that baby. Jordan, you need to go back and play that one.
No,
again.
I like it too.
You might change your mind.
Y'all trying to make me cry.
Luther Vandross sets
those songs tear me up when I listen to those songs.
She already crying.
I'm about to cry.
Lufa sets the mood. It's like that. It's like that art. Ooh, baby.
When I play stuff like that, I be getting real emo. I don't want anybody around me.
I think.
Did you come to mind?
No,
how about you?
Well, Donny Hathaway is one of my favorite singers in the world. But I will say, if this were Remind by Luther Vandross,
His voice is
but even just like the lyrics of that song,
right.
Like if you won't,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that song.
Uh-huh.
But in life, I'm gonna go with Donny Hop.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
We
I'm
could do that.
iffy today.
Because Luther is one of he's part of our family. Is what Patti LaBelle told me.
Do we know that?
Patti LaBelle
Patty
confirmed
When was this?
with me.
She called.
Beyonce calls me all the time.
You know,
she has my phone number.
Patti LaBelle. We sat down. She cooked. And
Come on, Patty Pies.
Say my name.
Guess what, Miss Patty? So yes. So I want to level set really quickly before we jump into this conversation and just discuss our history of our longest relationships that we've had. So for myself, the longest relationship that I've had has been, I think it was roughly 3.5 years, maybe longer, give or take. That was my most serious relationship. And for Jordan, about 3.5 years, I think, was his longest relationship, his most developed relationship. And then for Damon, mother, I think you have had the longest out of the three of us with a whopping. You ring in at a whopping 5 years.
5 years.
Time spent.
Okay,
and I think that was, you started when you were 25 in that relationship, and that took you all the way to you're an elder now. So, you're an old bat. So
I don't get older, I get better.
You get better.
And I will continue to live my life that way.
So yeah, I just wanted to like level set and
ironically, we all moved on from those extended relationships about the same time last year. All about in the same month, not planned. I don't care what anybody tells you. Not planned.
Absolutely not.
So kind of what in the last year, what's dating meant to you? How's that kind of changed? Were you thinking about being single again? Jordan?
Dating has been a
clusterfuck.
Yes. I was looking for a word, and I'm just like, it's not it. I think that I'm a lot more discerning this go round with dating. Like, I think I noticed red flags a lot sooner. And I'm not shy about ending something if I see a red flag, like making it full stop. Like, if I feel like a non-negotiable of mine is going to be compromised with this relationship, then I'm just like, it's no point. Like, you may be the most charismatic, the most handsome, the most thoughtful, but if there's like a non-negotiable that's not being met, like, I have to go because it's just, I'm happy with myself, and I would like to stay happy.
You said the other day you're getting old.
Did I say that? Who said that?
You said that.
Apparently everybody's getting old.
You said that.
Tony. Oh, okay. I said that? No, but yeah, dating has been like, just like really, New York is also just like a very unique space to date in. Like, there's limitless, boundless options, so people feel like they don't really need to like invest in one particular person.
Right. Everybody else we know from college, married.
Married.
Live outside New York or maybe LA.
Children.
Twins. Farm.
Okay.
Live on a farm.
These kids are going to Zoom classes.
Homeowners.
Homeowners, the whole enchilada. But yeah, dating has been not great, or intentional dating has not been great. Tony.
So for me, I think now I know more about what I will and will not tolerate. That's what's changed for me since the last time I was single. And I know more about myself and where I'm at and the things that I'm lacking. And I don't run from those things. Actually, I like just the idea of knowing more of who I am and being able to accept the things that are my flaws. But maybe flaws is the wrong word. It's just like areas of opportunity for growth. And since the last time I've dated, it's different. It's you don't meet anyone in person anymore. You don't get on an app. You maybe missing out? Like, am I blocking my blessings by deciding not to get on a Tinder or a Bumblebee or whatever those things are called?
Bumble's a nice dating app.
Girl, you went on 16 dates a week and hated them all.
Yeah, so
I like some of them.
So I think I just know a little bit more about like what I'm willing to like, what shit I'm willing to take and what shit I'm not willing to take. What about you?
So when I stepped out of that relationship, I decided to actively take a year away from kind of seriously dating and seriously being invested in a relationship with anyone.
Okay.
I had spent a lot of time in that relationship and in my time before really honing in on a person.
Mm-hmm.
And from even just, it's interesting, someone that I've met who, like, I wouldn't put a label on anything, but we were just discussing things and what you are looking for in dating. And one of the things we said was that it's not about my maybe non-negotiables and like what that person is or isn't. It's just me being the full expression of me,
right,
and sharing in that with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of the most interesting and eye-opening things I've ever heard from someone. And I think that we so often go into dating about what the other person is and what that experience is and what it means to me, but it's really just about, for me at least, in this conversation, was about, I want to live my life as the truest version of myself, and I would love to do that with someone and experience things with someone.
Right.
Because so often people have these preconceived notions of you. Like, I have this song that I've been absolutely obsessed with. This Tank and the Banga song, which for me is the theme song for the whole episode, even beyond Miss Badu's called Tyrone. And it's called Colors Change. It's the last song of their album. Colors Change.
Colors Change.
Yeah.
Seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember, like, if you know that artist, she sings, and then there's like a spoken word piece. And in the spoken word piece, she's talking about all these things in how people perceived her to be, and what people's expectations were. And she starts and she goes, "I'm not some island, and you didn't discover me.
Yes.
Weren't I on purpose?"
Okay.
And then she says, and as she goes through, she goes, "That wasn't naive as you'd like. Wasn't naive as you'd like to have seen me."
Mm.
And then she goes, "Did I confuse you about how I could be sea for you and land for him?"
Ooh.
Mm.
And it's beautiful to me because I think people look at experiences and feel like you have to be everything you've been to them. But our experience is unique.
Right.
And our experience is me experiencing this point in life with you, and it could be something totally different from if I'm experiencing it with Tony versus if I'm experiencing it with Jordan.
Absolutely.
And I think it's beautiful to think of people as whole humans. One of my former partners, when we first met, was like, "Oh, you're like my little doll baby." And
What?
Girl, I'll tell you offline. But I hated it.
Hey, doll baby.
I hated
Hey, doll face.
Right, and I hated it because to me it made me feel like I wasn't a full human.
Yeah.
You
Like,
were his doll baby.
Like, I'm
An accessory.
I'm beautiful, but I'm also ugly, and I'm happy, but I'm also sad, and I'm all these things. And to be reduced to that in certain conversations was infuriating to me.
Wow.
Mm.
And I think it kind of simplifies what experiences are, and I think like maybe a fun thing to talk about because
Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, like relationships can be complicated, and I think
Very.
oftentimes people are looking for like the one. But like, you guys believe monogamy? She's a thing.
What's that?
Ooh, okay, so
Okay, Tony wants to lead
What's
the
that?
charge.
Who said that? Who put this rule on
Mhm.
what I have to do with my relationship and how, a lot of people are living by these old traditions,
Mhm.
and they're putting heterosexual norms on
Everyone else.
everyone else.
right.
So what I think about monogamy is I don't think about it. I think what works for the couple, the two people in that situation, works for them. There should be a mutual understanding, an agreement
Mhm.
between that union. And I think you guys set your own rules and boundaries.
Yeah.
it's a conversation. It starts with communication because you all have to be on the same page. It can't be an open relationship, for instance, and that just means like a free for all. There's got to be some discussion and dialogue between the two where they're able to know what the boundaries are.
Right. And if a free for all works for you,
if a free for all
be
works for
free
you,
for all.
betcha by golly, wow. Okay, the stylistics. Get into it. Go look that up. It's a good one. Yeah, my grandfather told me that. Rest in peace. But I think it starts with monogamy. Like, I'm not jumping in, for me personally. Personally, not everyone else, but for me, I'm not jumping into just like, all right, girl, we here now. Let's go be queer and do it with everyone else, or like invite all these other elements into our thing. I think it starts with you have a foundation, you build that up, and then if you want to spice it up down the road, if you want to invite someone to your bedroom or out to lunch, I think you have every right to do so. But there's a level of security that you have to be. You have to be sure of yourself. You can't be someone who is a jealous person. You have to understand and be. You have to know who you are. My grandmother, Geneva, she says to me every time I would leave the house. Grandmother Geneva says, "Remember who you are," and that. The girl said, "Oh, that came from the Lion King." No, girl, that came from my grandmother Geneva. From the Lion King. Remember who you are. Remember. Simba.
Oh, Rafiki.
Whoever said it. I don't know if it was Mufasa or Rafiki, but it was Geneva, my grandmother. So remember who you are, and you have to be secure in yourself.
Yeah.
So I think there's room for interpretation. What do you think, Jordan?
Monogamy is my ideal situation.
Surprise, surprise.
Is that a surprise?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm
a Barbie girl. Barbie world. It's fantastic.
That's true. I'm a very idealist person. I do strive for things to be placed in the way they need to be placed. So I do think that ideally I would like to be in a monogamous relationship, but it's not completely unsubstantiated. I am someone who I feel like can be jealous. So sharing a partner with me it triggers some things. And self-doubt and sort of like this like feeling of why this person and not me. So I think to avoid that, I lean into monogamy. In the past, I have sort of like experimented with a non-monogamous setup. And to your point, Tony, I don't think there was enough communication around it, and then it got messy. And that was sort of like, to me, it sent a message to me that, okay, maybe this doesn't work for me, at least.
Right. Hold up.
Right.
Right now.
So I feel like it's something that I'm definitely open to, but I think that I can only be open to it with someone who I feel like I'm really on the same page with, and that there's enough communication that I completely understand the motives, the reasoning, and the whereabouts.
Okay. Ooh, the whereabouts.
Yeah.
All right now.
Hello?
Okay.
Because there's a difference, okay?
You keeping tabs?
There's a difference, yes. There's a difference between getting your freak on in Lisbon, Portugal.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? And there's a difference with getting your freak on, like, in Harlem.
Why? No. I hear what he's saying, but yeah, go ahead. Why? Explain.
I don't want my life to be Basketball Wives. I don't want my life to be...
So you're not Tammy Roman.
I'm not
those
Tammy
other girls.
Roman. I'm not a non-motherfucking factor, bitch, Evelyn Lozada.
Okay.
Like, I just feel like I don't want to have to interact with the person. Maybe that changes, but I'm speaking from my experience today.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
on this day,
I'm not completely past the point of being convinced otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just going to take a very special person that I have a very close relationship with and a very open, honest communication style with to make me feel comfortable.
That's important. That's important.
Yeah. Damon. Dun dun dun.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all gotta just get
ready. Introducing
because we know you're about to get deep. You're about to
the
say
mother.
something
She's an
philosophical.
icon. She's legendary.
Shut
My
up.
spirit just woke up and told me
Here we go.
the spirit of monogamy is a lie.
Get ready. Get ready.
Monogamy's fine if she works for you. I don't love the concept. And it's not my spirit. It is part of the work I did in therapy around this concept.
Mm-hmm.
And monogamy is a newer idea, and the idea that we look for people to be lover, partner, best friend, provider, all these things. And you put all this pressure on people, on one person to be what was typically 7 or 8 people in other instances in time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially in a physical sense, like I won't speak for everyone, but like as a male, as a queer male, like you can be quite sexual. And why is it that because I met some person, now I have eyes for no other all of a sudden? I've spent 31 years just going through the world, viewing things that I think are things or people that I think are beautiful. And now I met you and nothing else is beautiful.
All right, now.
And I don't want to smell any other flowers.
Yes.
Tell the story.
So
one size does not fit all.
one size doesn't fit all,
Forever.
or you may want a different size. Never mind.
And we digress.
So like, yeah. So I just think that you take it one day at a time. You evaluate the experience and you make up whatever works for you. I don't need anything traditional. Like there is no rule or there is no ideal that I'm searching for.
Right. I hate that people like these rules. This is not the way things are done. Like for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I do things the way I want to do them.
And I think what's been one of the most surprising things you've learned in a past relationship? Maybe Jordan, we can start with you this time.
Most surprising thing, surprising to me, but maybe not surprising to you guys because you know me. But I learned through therapy that I have very unrealistic expectations of my partner.
Do you want them to be all those things that Damon just mentioned?
Maybe not all those things.
Okay.
All of them. Every single one.
Maybe 9 out of the 10 things.
9.5.
But I think that through my work in therapy, I learned that, and not even just specific to romantic relationships, but just my relationships in general, friendships. I would like if people could operate, act, behave exactly like me. And I think that
always date people that are so opposite from you.
Yeah, that's so strange. But then I resent them for not being like me. And which ties back to the whole discerning thing. Now I need to recognize these things up front.
Right.
But like I think that, when people don't react to certain things, behave a certain way, or do things that I would normally naturally do, like I start getting frustrated and I resent like my partners for it.
Yeah.
And then I also have a bad habit of like expecting my partners to be psychics and being like, just like picking up on all the subtle clues that I drop and just being able to just sort of like read my mind.
Nobody's a mind reader.
And
I left the yellow rose petal on the bed, and you should have known that was a sympathy petal.
No.
What is this accent that you always take on when you're like mimicking me?
That's you.
I love that. I love that.
It's my Karen accent.
That's my Karen accent. That's your Mora Rose. Jocelyn. But yeah, like I think that I learned that I can't ignore someone's person and being and who they are as a person and what makes them special,
right?
And automatically think about okay, well, when we're together, then I'm going to figure out how we can sort of pivot this part of you and change this part of you. It's very like a very common saying, but like you can't date potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to be completely okay with the person that you're dating today.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not some island. You did not discover
I'm
them.
definitely not
Yeah.
Bob the Builder, so I'm not.
And I'm not either. Like,
Can we fix it? No, we can't.
In retrospect, I've been in relationships where I felt like I needed to sort of change things about who I was and sort of like appeal to that person's expectations. And I just feel like it's just not a recipe for happiness. So I feel like the most surprising thing I learned about myself is just having patience, compassion, and understanding for other people's quirks and understanding like I may have strengths. And maybe that's just what I bring to the relationship. They don't have to also bring that. You know what I mean? Sometimes we can complement each other. We don't have to be
right. What I lack, you have, and what you lack, I have. It's a balance.
Exactly. So I feel like that's probably the most surprising thing that I learned.
Well, I learned from the best. I learned from you, Whitney Houston.
Oh, I thought you were looking at me.
No, not you.
No one was looking at you. Not even glancing.
Back to the matter. I think that
Serious matter.
It's a serious matter.
Yes.
And what I think that I've learned is that I do have a heart. And I love love. I was that girl who, well, first of all, I think I softened up a bit from past weeks. And I think I was that girl that before I could drop you like a bad habit with the swiftness. It was nothing. It's nothing. Like, literally.
It's fine.
It's fine. And I think now I'm more inclined to do the work, to see if we can troubleshoot, to see if we can problem solve. I know that I'm not perfect. I do know that, despite what anyone else thinks. And what really brought this to light for me recently is when I went, and you guys, we've all seen Slave Play, right? On Broadway. If you haven't seen it, I'm
sorry.
Too bad.
COVID.
Because there is no more Broadway.
Never.
At least now. But there was a play on Broadway called Slave Play. Go research, look at
Jeremy O'Hara's.
Jeremy O'Hara's. And one of the characters said to their lover in the play that if you present yourself as a trophy, that's how people perceive you, or that's how people receive you. And that's all that person in the character was able to, that's the only way he was able to receive his partner as that trophy, because the partner was beautiful. The partner he looked like androgynous. You couldn't tell if he was black, if he was Hispanic, if he was white. And the partner saying these words was a darker skinned male. And he was expressing his frustrations. And it made me think about certain relationships that I've been in the past. And I often feel that I think the three of us have a tendency to, when we get with someone, they put us on this pedestal because we carry ourselves a certain way.
Doll baby.
You're a doll baby. Exactly. So because we carry ourselves as such and you present yourself as the trophy, that's how they receive you. But sometimes, like what Rihanna said, I don't want to be a role model. I didn't ask for that position, and you're putting me on that pedestal, and now all of a sudden I am being held to this standard, which I didn't ask for. And I don't necessarily want it. But to get back to the question of it all, I think what I've learned the most is how to soften up, how to be more considerate, how to consider others. I have a brother. I'm not an only child, but I have only child tendencies and syndrome, which I think Jordan probably has that the most.
About your experience.
No, we don't. I'm gonna drag you in the process too.
Look,
but
only children unite.
It wasn't a lie.
It's not a lie. I know I'm an only child, and I know I act like an only child.
So I say all this to say that I learned a lot about myself, but I embrace that, and I'm willing to do the work.
Yeah.
But Damon, I'm curious to know for you. Let us know. Tell us.
I was having an interesting exchange recently, like a couple months ago, with my former partner, and we've moved on in our lives. But there was a level of resolution that needed to happen.
Yeah.
And part of the resolution, a lot of it was me analyzing. We've been in a really, really terrible place when our relationship ended. And what I realized, I was like, there were days where I was like, why am I going through this? Or like, why is he going through this? And why are we putting each other through these really, really horrible days? And the thing that I learned that I hold on to are the worst parts of myself. I think that often we go through life and saying like, oh, well, I could never be that person that would do this, or I could never be that person that would do that to someone else. And
maybe once you get into a long-term relationship.
Right. And I think, you've just never been in a circumstance, or you've never been with another person who finds that button for you.
Right.
Or finds that experience for you.
Right.
And there was a long time where I wondered, I was just like, I spent 5 years in this, like, why am I not getting married like I thought it would be?
Yeah.
100%.
And I was like, what was the point of me being there? And I had a really hard time with it because I really cared a lot about this person.
Right. And I think, Damon, you're the most, out of the three of us, the most relationship oriented. I think you've been the person for us where we have been at our wits' end. And you were like,
yeah,
you are a good man, Savannah.
I think
You're a good man, Savannah.
No, it's funny because like if anybody has listened to this season, they probably think I'm the one that will cut someone off as quickly. But I think I give people the space to be all of them.
Yeah.
The worst parts of them.
Yeah.
Without immediately like going away from it.
I mean, yeah, I agree. You're definitely Damon, fuck your feelings apps.
Right.
But like you're very caring.
Yeah, it's just like, fuck your feelings, but you can have them. Like that's how I've always felt. Like it's not, as crazy as I am, it's not about me trying to convince you to think how I think, but me being able to state it, and me also giving you the space to be in a thing that like has nothing to do with how I feel. But back to the question, like I will say that I learned the very worst parts of myself and how vile and dark and hurtful of a human that I could be. And I think that going into a relationship, friendship, anything going forward, I find that it's important to know those parts of myself.
Absolutely.
And know exactly what takes me to that space and know exactly how not to do it again.
Know what your triggers are.
Yeah. And like I don't believe in most times in regret, but there are things that I did and acted on and acted in a way where I'm just like, I don't ever want to do that shit again.
Right.
So that's what I'd say is the most valuable thing I learned in a past relationship.
Wow.
Shout out to therapy.
Shout out to therapy. Well, we're going to take a beat. And that's all the time we have this week. Sorry. But let's keep the conversation going. Let us know your thoughts and questions at surfacelevelpodcast.com. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please rate, review, and subscribe.
And you can stay updated by following us on Instagram and YouTube at Surface Level Podcast. And remember, stay curious.